Hi, also our revision of statistics or data topics continues today with cumulative frequency. Before that, we have a go at a battleships little puzzle for you. I can't remember if we've done one of these before. I've certainly done them with one or two groups, or there's a little bit more information I need to show you. So for the thing of battleships, you've got this grid that you might want to copy down or even print out if you wanted to. And the rules are, the numbers here mean how many bits of boat are in each column. So one square in this column is including a bit of boat. There are no bits of boat in here at all. There are 5 bits of boat in there. And the boats that are there are shown down here. So they've put this one on for us. So I can cross that one out, and I know that there's only 3 more of those small boats left. Then these ones, probably call them submarines, maybe call these ones cruisers. There's 3 of these. Now this might be half of one of those, I don't know. Or it might be one end of one of these 3, the battleships and destroyers. But the rules that it says up here is that every boat is totally surrounded by water. And why this is a particularly good puzzle for practicing problem solving is it really shows the benefit of just going with what you know so far and always be able to work something out. So every boat is surrounded by water, including on the diagonal. So I'm going to put crosses all round that boat. And somehow these other boats are all going to fit in the grid, and we can tell exactly where they are. So what else could I cross out? Well, I could, for this boat here, I know there's going to be nothing in front of it. I know there's going to be at least 1 bit there, so that means that these bits can't have a boat in, but I don't know beyond that. It might just be a 2 and it might be a bit longer, so I can just do that so far. What else can I do? Well, this is a 0, so there's no bits of boat in the whole of this column. And there's no bits of boat in the whole of this column, so I'm going to keep doing that. And when I get to the point that I've put all of those in, I notice something interesting here, that there's no bit of boat there at all. So this must be one of our little cruisers. So I can cross that one out and put that triangle in there. Next up, I can deal with the ones. I know there's only 1 bit of boat in this row here, so I'm going to block those out. And I also know that there's exactly 2 bits of boat in this column here. And just the 1 bit of boat in this row across there. Now we've got that far, I'm going to have to think a bit differently. I'm going to start thinking about this boat here because it's the big one. And so there's a few places which can take more than 4 or more. They've all got, there's none with 4 in, but there's a few with 5. However, so it could be lying there, and it could be lying there, and I suppose it could be lying there, but it can't be lying here or here because that's only a 1. So I've got that to think about first of all. And I think the key here is I've got 5 are going to be in this column, which means what I know is all 5 of those are filled up with boat. Well, if all 5 are filled up with boat, the long boat must go in there, and then we must have something here. Now, I don't yet know whether it's 1 on its side, a 2er or a 1er. And I'm going to have to wait on that a tiny bit, I think. I can though, looking across, there's already now 1 bit of boat in there, so I can put crosses across there. And now what I do know is there are only 2 columns that the 3 boats can go in. There's nowhere the 3 boats can go across, so they've got to be vertical. They can't be in these 2 columns, so they've got to be in these 2, and there's only 2 spaces for them. So I'm going to put those boats in next. The let's call them destroyers and say the big one was a battleship. I'm never sure which one's bigger than the other. You can write in and tell me if you like. Who knows? Now I find that I've already got 3 in the top 2 rows, so we can't have anything there. And we're meant to have 5 in this row, so that must be a cruiser. No, or is it a submarine? We get calling the cruisers the circles, won't we? So there's a cruiser gone there. Now we've only got 2 places. Our remaining cruiser can go there or there, but because we need to fit 2 more in there and in here somewhere, that's not going to work out with that, I don't think. So I'm going to go for it and put that one down there. If that's down there, these must all be crosses. That must be a cross as well. And to make 5, they must both be little ones. Can't remember cruiser or submarine now. I've totally lost it on that. And that means that what have we got left? We've just got, we've had that one filled, so none of those. We've got our ones in there. We've just got that one to place, so that one must be in there, and we have solved it. So I hope that helps you think through how we can, just one stage at a time, look for something that we can do. But we're only putting in things when we know that those things are true. But most of them are negative things, just knowing, well, I know it's not there. Now, we did do cumulative frequency not that long ago, so I'm hoping that you'll remember some of it. And we won't have time to go through all the questions on this question sheet, so I'm putting up the answer bits as well. And if you'd like to have a go at a bit more of it, if you've got time, that would be really good. Or if you'd like to put it away for a bit of revision at some point that you can have a go at, that would be great. Don't forget to upload some of your evidence of what you've done today either. Now, looking at this, tomato plants again. Love them. Right, you'll notice, or you may not have done, but you will do now that I'm pointing it out, that all of these regions start from 140. The word cumulative means adding up as you go through, you see. So there are 7 tomato plants that are shorter than 150 centimeters in height, but more than 140. And then there are 17 plants between 140 and 160. So those 7 are part of those 17. And these 17 are part of this 32, and so on. So the important thing here is not the midpoint. It's that we've got 7 plants that we know can't be taller than 150 centimeters. 17 that can't be taller than 160. And that's what we're interested in when we're plotting this as far as we go. So starting off, I've got 7 for between 140 and 150. So at 150, what I know for certain is that I've just got 7. And I also know that I've got none that are less than 140. So I'm putting a 0 there. Then it said 17 for 160. So it's 1 division for each one. So 15, 16, 17 there. 32 for 170. 51 for 180. 57 for 190. And we've got 60 tomato plants altogether, and none of them are taller than 2 meters. Then all you need to do is sketch in the curve. And I say sketch, it is not a series of straight lines. They can take a mark off if you do that. What I like to do is just build up the line with lots of small pencil strokes. Now, if you're someone who does a fair bit of art and drawing, you may find you're a bit stronger at this than others. If you find that your line is a little bit wiggly, the examiners are very tolerant about that, so do not worry. What's important is that you've made an attempt at a smooth thing and it goes through all the points, and then you can use that to find whatever questions they want to ask. And they're asking for our median height. So the median height, if you had 60 tomato plants lined up, you'd actually go halfway between the 30th and the 31st. But because it's an approximation anyway with this smooth line, you just say at half of how many we've got all together. So we go to the 30th on there, get out your ruler and draw across. And it is good practice to draw this on. This is showing you're working. Do not just read it across and then write down the answer. They might take a mark off. They're within their rights to do so. So there you go. So that has come down exactly one square before 170. So my median height would be 169 centimeters. And in the mark scheme, there would be a little bit of tolerance allowed. And the mark scheme here would accept 168, anything between 168 and 169. I hope you can appreciate that, because 30 is significantly below where 170 comes in. There is definitely going to have to be less than 170, isn't it? Question 2 kicks off by saying that the cumulative frequency graph gives the information the times it took people. Often it says how many people, but you always know how many people by where the curve finishes. It finishes at 80, so you know there were 80. If that curve had finished there, then it would have to be 75, so be aware of that. The first question is find the median time. So pause it and have a go. Well, there's 80 people. 80 divided by 2 is 40, so we're at the 40th. We take our ruler again and we draw across from 40 until we hit the line, and then go straight down, and you can see that that's on a single line. Now this time, because they've drawn this line in for us, there won't be any give or take in the mark scheme. It would have to be one square before 70, and beware, because that's 68 seconds, isn't it? Then find the number of people it took longer than 80 seconds to complete the challenge. Pause the video and give that a go. Just move that up to there in case you haven't got, if you haven't been able to print this off, it's going to be a little bit difficult. So in which case, don't worry, just watch what's going on. So from 80, I've drawn up until I hit the line, and then when I hit the line, I'm drawing across, and that there's one square for each one going up the side. That there is at 68. So the real common mistake that people would do would be to write 68 down. Can you see why 68 is a mistake? The question asks how many took longer. If it said how many people took less than 80 seconds, you would estimate it as being 68. But the number who took more are actually this small region up here between 68 and 80, which is 12. So for that reason, it's 12. Right, I'm going to skip question 3, but feel free to have a go at it and check out that you've got it all right on the mark scheme, and let me know if you have any problems. Have a go at question 4 first of all. You've got to draw the cumulative frequency graph for this information. The numbers this time are not going up all the time. And that's because our regions are between 20 and 30, 30 to 40, and so on. But a cumulative frequency graph would still be going from the same place. So what we really need is to add another column on here for the cumulative frequency. And when we do that, We are saying we're going from 20 to 30, we're going from 20 to 40, we're going from 20 to 50, 20 to 60, 20 to 70, and 20 to 80. I don't have to write that bit down, but what I do have to do is say this is 9. This will be 9 plus 16 makes 25, less than 40. Plus another 20 makes 45, equal or less than 50. Another 29 is 74. Another 15 is 89, plus 11 makes 100. I know I've got that right because that's what it says at the top there. Now I have to plot these against these things, and you should get some crosses that look like this. Notice I've got some on halfway between the squares on the grid. That's quite common for them to ask for that because there's 2 squares. There's 1 square for each 2 people on there. Then I sketch in my curve, and the final question is to find an estimate for the median time taken. So give that a go. We've got 100, so the median will be half of 100, so it's at the 50th one. So we draw a cross for that, and we get something here that's looking like it's really close to 52. You can go 51.5, but actually anything between 51 and 53 it's happy with, so that would be okay there. So now I'm going to skip question 5 and come to the last question, question 6, because it involves the interquartile range. So it says the weights of some objects, so it's expecting you to find the median first of all, and it's expecting you to read that off and say, well, that means that there are 60 objects, and the median will come at half of 60, which is 30. So if we draw a cross at that, I'm going to write median on here because we're going to have a couple of other things in a moment. And that's exactly at that line there. So the median is, there's 1 gram for each square there, 128 grams. And then the interquartile range. Well, the interquartile is between the lowest quartile, the lowest quarter, and the upper quarter. So it's the range of the middle half in between 1 quarter and 3 quarters. So 100 divided by 4 is 25. So the 25th will be what we call the lower quartile. And the 75th will be the upper quartile. And we need to find those 2 results and take one from the other to get there. Except I would if there were 100 objects, but there are only 60, aren't there? So I've got to recalculate that, sorry. So that's going to be at the 15th result and the 45th. So if we draw those in now, the lower quartile, which is also sometimes called Q1, by the way, and the median is sometimes called Q2 because it's the second quarter makes a half, and the upper quartile is known as Q3. Q4 is everyone. So we're up to 45, aren't we? Draw it across until we hit that. Now normally in an exam you'd use a pencil for this, just in case things went wrong, or to make sure you didn't smudge it with your ruler. So I've got 122 there and 131, 2, 3. Now if you write 122 to 133, this is one of the things that annoys me most because it's a really annoying way to lose a mark. That gives you more information, doesn't it, than just how wide it is. But when it asks you that, all it wants to know is how spread out are the middle half. So they are spread out, the amount that you get when you take the lower quartile from the upper quartile, which gives you 11. So 11 grams is the interquartile range. Yes, that tells you more about it, but that's not the specific answer to the specific question. Okay, well, I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did, folks, and we will carry on again with some more fantastic data next time. Cheerio!